Now let me discuss about the different instruments which are used for measuring different weather parameters. As I have already told you, in an observatory which there will be different instruments which will be kept in agricultural farm. So now let us know, suppose this is an observatory. As I told you, this will be 60 meter by 40 meter. At the top, Steven sunscreen will be kept. On the left, anemometer. On the right, wind vane. Behind that, again single Steven sunscreen. On the right, double Steven sunscreen. And behind that, ordinary rain gauge. And on the right, self-recording rain gauge. And at the last, we have class A pan evaporimeter. So this is the basic design of an observatory. Now let us learn about the different instruments accordingly. There are different instruments which are used for measuring wind velocity, wind direction, atmospheric pressure, temperature and solar radiation. So we will divide the parameters into 4 types: temperature, pressure, atmospheric pressure, this is, then wind, then we will go for the solar radiation. So to know about the instruments of for measuring temperature, now we shall discuss about a Steven sunscreen first. As I have told you, a Steven sunscreen is just like a mini house made out of wooden and which will be painted white. In that, there are 4 instruments kept together. One is maximum thermometer at the top. At the bottom, minimum thermometer. On the left, dry bulb thermometer, and on the right, wet bulb thermometer. So these 4 instruments for measuring different temperature will be kept in a Steven sunscreen. We will name it Steven sunscreen, and the measurement of this Steven sunscreen will be length 56 meter, width 40 centimeter, and the height will be 30 centimeter. Now this Steven sunscreen, there will be a door for this opening at the bottom. This and the Steven sunscreen should be faced to the north to avoid the excess solar radiation into the Steven sunscreen. So this is the basic of the Steven sunscreen. Now let us know about the various instruments which are kept in the Steven sunscreen. Now first, the maximum thermometer. This maximum thermometer is used for measuring maximum temperature in a day. This will be set at, in the morning, 700 hours local mean time, and this maximum thermometer contains mercury. So this will be kept at the top of the Steven sunscreen and it contains mercury and it is standardized at 700 hours local mean time. And the variation in the measurement of the temperature by maximum thermometer will be minus 35 degrees Celsius to plus 55 degrees Celsius. Here what it contains, the temperature variation, and when it will be set, and where this is placed in the Stevenson screen. This is very important to know. Now we will study about the minimum thermometer. This minimum thermometer is used for measuring the minimum temperature in a day. This contains alcohol. This contains alcohol and it will be set at, this minimum thermometer will be set at 1400 hours local mean time. So this is about the minimum thermometer. Now let us study about this dry bulb thermometer and wet bulb thermometer. Dry bulb thermometer will be kept in the left of the Stevenson screen, and this also measures the temperature between minus 35 degrees Celsius to plus 55 degrees Celsius. Now for the wet bulb thermometer, to keep the thermometer wet, a muslin cloth will be tacked around this thermometer so that the thermometer will be kept wet continuously, and the variation in the temperature or the measurement of the temperature by minimum thermometer will be minus 40 degrees Celsius to plus 50 degrees Celsius. So this is about the different thermometers which are kept in the Stevenson screen. As I have told you, the place where the thermometer is placed and what the thermometer contains and what is the range of temperature it measures are really important. As I have told you, Stevenson screen will be faced north, and the details about the Stevenson screen you can remember. As I told you, the Stevenson screen, the screen should be placed above the ground surface, and the distance between the earth surface or the ground surface to the Stevenson screen should be 1.22 meter. This distance is very important that you have to remember. Now, as I told you, I have divided the instruments according to the 4 different weather parameters. Now we have covered this temperature. Now let me talk about the atmospheric pressure. Atmospheric pressure is the weight of the air which will put pressure on the earth's surface. About the atmospheric pressure we will deal about it later. Now let me tell you the different instruments which are used for measuring atmospheric pressure. One is aneroid barometer. Aneroid barometer. This measures the atmospheric pressure. And another instrument which is used for measuring the amount of rainfall is rain gauge. I hope this you know. In rain gauge, we have 2 different types of rain gauge. One is self-recording. This rain gauge will continuously record the amount of rainfall at different time intervals. One is ordinary. This rain gauge, which is kept in the observatory, will have to be standardized and set at different time duration. Now, we shall know about the instruments which are used for measuring the wind. Here wind, when we say wind, one is wind velocity and the another one is wind direction. For wind velocity, we have an instrument, anemometer. It measures the velocity, and for wind direction, we have wind vane. So, in accordance with the wind, we have these 2 instruments. One is for velocity and one is for direction. Now, let me tell about the different instruments which are used for measuring relative humidity. Relative humidity. There are different types of instruments. One is for measuring the relative humidity. The instrument is called as psychrometer or hygrometer. This instrument is used generally, and the next one is Assmann's psychrometer. This instrument measures the relative humidity under the vegetative canopy or vegetation canopy. This is for the general measurement, and this is one for the measurement of the relative humidity in vegetative canopy. And the next one is hair hygrometer. Hair hygrometer. This hair hygrometer is used for the measurement of the relative humidity in room. So these three are the important instruments which are used for measuring relative humidity. One is psychrometer or hygrometer, which is used generally. One is Assmann's psychrometer, which is used in the measurement of relative humidity in vegetative canopy, and the third one is the hair hygrometer, which is used for the measurement of relative humidity in room. So you should remember which instrument is used for which one. So we will get a question in the exam. They'll give all the options. We should know for room temperature, for canopy, and for general measurement which type of psychrometers or hygrometers will be used. Now, the one important parameter is solar radiation, and the instruments used for the solar radiations are many. We have different types of instruments for this. Before entering into the instrument, let me talk about solar radiation a little. As we know, from sun we will get the energy or the photons or quantums we will be getting through the sun. That we call it as a sun energy or solar radiation. In solar radiation, from sun emits short wave radiation, and the earth emits long wave radiation. So, for measurement of short wave radiation and long wave radiation, we have different instruments called pyradiometer. I hope this is clear. For measuring both short waves and long waves, we have one instrument which is called as pyradiometer, and for measuring only the long wave type of radiation, we have piezoradiometer or piezometer. I hope this is clear. If you remember this, it will be easy to remember which instrument is used for which type of radiation. So for short and long radiation, this pyradiometer is used, and for measurement of the only long wave which will be emitted from earth, the instrument used is piezoradiometer or piezometer. Here, how you can remember for the long wave is geo. Geo means earth. So the radiation which will be emitted from the earth, we can remember as piezoradiometer or piezometer. Now, the another concept of this solar radiation is, as I told you, sun will be radiating energy, right? So the energy which will be radiated by sun, we can call it as a total radiation. Total radiation is the energy which will be emitted by the sun. In that, these are suspended particles in the atmosphere. Okay, so the radiation which will be directly reaching to the earth's surface, we call it as a direct radiation. I'll repeat, the radiation which will be directly reaching to the earth's surface without any deviation in its direction, we call it as a direct radiation. And the radiation which will be deviating and then reaching the earth's surface, we call it as a diffused radiation or sky radiation. I hope this is clear. I'll repeat it. The radiation which will be directly reaching the earth's surface without any deviation in its quality or quantity, that type of radiation we call it as direct radiation. And the radiation which will be deviated due to the suspended particles in the atmosphere, that type of radiation we call it as diffused or sky radiation. Here we have different instruments which will be used for measuring different radiation. So you can remember as total radiation is equal to direct plus sky radiation or diffused radiation. Here from diffused radiation, this diffused radiation is the one which will be reaching the plants very effectively than the direct radiation. Now for total incoming radiation, we have an instrument that is called as pyranometer. Pyranometer. So this is one which is used for measuring the total incoming radiation. Here again in pyranometer we have different types. One is Bellani, one is Epley, and there are different types of pyranometer. Again, let's not go in detail for these pyranometers. Now the next instrument which is used for measuring the diffused radiation is Kip radiometer. Kip radiometer. This is one of the important instrument you have to remember. Otherwise, the another instrument which is used for measuring the diffused radiation is shading pyranometer. Shading pyranometer. And let me be more clear about this. Total radiation is equal to direct plus diffused. As I told you, for total radiation, the instrument is used is pyranometer. And for measuring diffused or sky radiation, we have shading pyranometer or Kip radiometer. This question is a frequent question in the exam for diffuse radiation. And for measurement of the direct solar radiation, we have pi heliometer. Heliometer, as you can remember, helio means sun. So the radiation which will be directly coming from the sun without any deviation, that is direct radiation. And for that measurement, we have an instrument pi heliometer.